Go ahead.
All right. Overview. McDonald asserts that the firm is rhetoric that threats such as the one he sees China and terrorism make space seem like the Wild West, an object that needs to be controlled in order to solve for the outside threats. And alt solves the app justifies security in general as a slippery slope. Once others in the app are successfully constructing the threats, further construction will continue. Rejection solves globally. And floating picks are good. A, competitive makes the K actually competitive rather than just talking about the vague leaks and alts. B, educational learns about the app correlates, how the app correlates with philosophy, the best of both worlds. And then on the framework, we are defending a policy alternative. The alternative solves all the app without security. A, most predictable. You know what your app is. You should be able to defend what the representations are. Most representation arguments are about security. B, education still learn about the topic, but on a critical level, spurs critical thinking and the K outweighs the case. The creation of China's potential rival in terrorism justifies continuing violence and conquest of space as a means of justifying dominance and militarization of space. We saw one warning how that the off rejects all security. Warming is still up for grabs. Even the app solves, so a chance of warming, the impact of the threat construction is way worse. And on realism, one, the evidence assumes that the critique and engagement on Earth, the I want to see McDonald evidence indicates that space is uniquely different, that it is governed by a treaty and not subject to borders and a defined international engagement of the status quo. And two, on theory, the alt solves the reason why while realism is inevitable in space, we reject the idea that realism extends into space, therefore getting rid of it. That's I want to see McDonald evidence. And three, on Mersheimer, alt solves realism states that states have a better chance of surviving if they reject the dominating nature of security. And four, space has no geography, has been constructed through discourse around exploration. McDonald 7. Astronomical geography. It should be stressed with not always a specialist in knowledge, remembering that heaven is no less geographical imaginary than Orient or the Occident. A closely related argument is that the geography of outer space is a logical extension of early geographies of imperial exploration. Space exploration has used exactly the same discourses, the same rationales, and even the same institutional frameworks like its terrestrial counterpart. The move into space has its origins in older imperial enterprises. And on the perms. And one, on perm to both. Perm links it relies on the idea that the U.S. must militarize space is the exact idea that we criticize. And two, on perm do without reps. The perm severs the function of the plan as militarized space against China. They cannot take back what they've said. It destroys negative strategy. This kills fairness and education. It's a reason to reject the team. And on the link, A, crossed by the McDonald evidence here. And B, the Knudsen part is outdated. Doesn't put into account the United States handling of the current terrorist threat. That itself is securitization because it justifies the occupation of the Middle East. And C, U.S. moon base would be used as a gatekeeper to ensure other nations cannot gain access to outer space or healing through the moon. It becomes a new purge engulfed with healing through as a natural resource, and the U.S. hegemony is spread into outer space to the establishment of the moon base. Gagnon 06. The idea that the U.S. on the moon is nothing new. The military maintained that the lunar outpost is required to develop and protect potentially the U.S. interests on the moon. Any military operations on the moon will be difficult to counter by the enemy because of the difficulty it has reaching the moon. If our forces are already present in means of countering a landing and neutralizing any hostile force that have landed, the moon has one resource that is getting everyone's attention. It's the healing 3. Historically, military forces have evolved to protect national interests, and invest in space forces will emerge and protect military and commercial national interests and invest in the space medium. I didn't start the time. How much time do I have left? A minute. All right. On back to the link. China. The way in which we represent China as a potential rival for the United States in space is inherently wrong. It justifies the United States having complete monopoly on the moon, and that sort of. And sort of bordering of the moon, and that realist logic on the moon is inherently wrong because it justifies the conquering of other places on Earth, and it's as I said before, it's a slippery slope. Once that threat construction of China is justified, then other threats will be justified, and it can solve for the securitization globally. And
Here's a little bit of like.